Hey, what's up, Propel? It is early Sunday morning and we are camping, and I was actually planning on getting up a lot earlier to do this. Goodness, my hair. Hold that. There's not a lot we're gonna be able to do with that. But I was gonna get up early and try to do this message with you all. Not the best setup, but here we are. I was gonna try to get up a little bit earlier, but someone had other plans, and I might have low-key kicked him in the head last night in the middle of the night. So I kind of owe it to him to take him for a walk and spend some time with him. And you know, these things happen and they're no one's fault, but here we are Sunday morning, and I wanted to talk to you all because we are doing a message this week. The message is on Ruth, and Ruth is a story in the Bible that kind of starts with a lot of no hope, but through acts of faithfulness, God uses them for a big part of his plan. Just everyday faithfulness, which is awesome. So there's a guy running in and I'm kind of nervous, so I'm gonna put this down. Hey, what's going on, man? I don't think he had any idea. So the story starts off with Naomi, and she's married to a man named Elimelech, I think was his name, and she's married to him, and she has 2 sons through him, and they are in a foreign land because of drought. And next thing you know, her husband passes away, and her sons had gotten married, and both of her sons passed away. So now she is the mother-in-law without a husband and with 2 daughter-in-laws with no sons, so no way to provide. And she just kind of says, well, woe is me, and tries to send the daughter-in-laws off. One of them goes back to their home, while the other one, Ruth, she has developed a love for Naomi and a faithfulness to her. And she says, no, I'm not gonna leave you. So she actually goes with Naomi and returns back to their homeland, and they're poor. And Ruth tries to take care of Naomi, and so she goes out to pick up grain, and she's a foreigner in that land because that's not her home. Naomi's sons married outside of where they're from. So Ruth is gathering up grain, and then Boaz comes in the picture, who turns out to be actually related to Elimelech's family, Naomi's husband. But Boaz comes in, and there's a bench. Let's go. You want to go sit down at a bench, chill out for a second? Daddy's not real good at this walking thing. Let's do it. So as Naomi is, what she does is she goes into the fields, because Boaz has a lot of field and crops, and Boaz would go into the field and check out this view. It's pretty. The light is all behind me, so I guess I can't do that. But so Boaz goes into the he leaves grains behind and tells the guys that take care of his crops, he says, leave, this is terrible lighting, leave, and you want to see it, don't you? Look at him, he's trying to turn around. Let's turn around, don't fall out of there. Hold on. Oh goodness. And we're back. Upside down. And we're back. So then Naomi then is able to, get their food. Boaz is able to get the food for Naomi, and Ruth is able to get the food from Boaz's fields. And so then she goes back and tells Naomi that she was in Boaz's field. Well, then Naomi, starts praising God because she knows that he could be their kinsman redeemer, which that goes back to, it's a lot of more research, a lot of more info to let you understand what that's all about. But basically, if a brother was to pass away, or someone in the family was to pass away, are you helping me talk? Then the brother would come in and it would basically take care of the wife if his brother were to pass away. It's part of his kinsman duties to take care of your brother's wife if you pass away, which made sense. They didn't have the healthcare system that we have set up. They didn't have government assistance like that. So God actually provided that, which is pretty cool. So eventually, long story short, Boaz falls in love with Naomi. I'm sorry, with Ruth. Boaz falls in love with Ruth, and they ended up getting married. And by doing this, he restores Naomi and her family, and it's just this incredible way of how God restores this family and takes care of and rewards Ruth's faithfulness to Naomi. But I also want to talk about Boaz for a second, because Boaz, when he was leaving those crops out, when he was leaving a little bit in the fields, that goes back to Leviticus chapter 19, that God had told the Israelite people to when the harvest comes, don't plow all the way to the end of your fields, or don't reap the crops all the way to the end of your fields, and the stuff that falls on the ground from your grapes, your vineyards, leave stuff for the foreigners passing through. Is it that boring? I'm getting to the point. He would say, leave some of your crops for foreigners and poor people passing through. So him doing this, these little acts, which didn't seem like much to him, were actually a big deal. I mean, it had huge consequences, or huge benefits, I should say, in the end. So just these little acts of faithfulness. We went on a cruise one time, our family, and it was a cruise, and we went to a private island in the Bahamas, and we were just there on this private island for like a day, and man, it was beautiful. There was a couple there that we passed by a couple times, a man and his wife and their small son, about Mac's age here, and we'd seen them and smiled in passing a couple times. And when it was time to get back on a boat, there was a smaller boat that took us to the larger cruise boat. And when we went to get on the boat, they were in they had a stroller kind of like that, and the boat would shake. The waves would come in and it would move, and it wasn't horrible, but it was hard for one person to get a stroller with a baby back onto their boat. So it really wasn't much of a thought process to us. It was just one of us. I can't even remember. It was so wasn't such a big deal at the time that I don't know if I did it or if my father-in-law did it, but one of us in our group just helped them with a stroller. Maybe both of us just kind of lifted it up over and helped him over. Well, this man was just blown away by that act of kindness, and for us it was just a little simple act. But the more we got talking to him, he was like, hey, I really appreciate that. That was great. Do you think that he said, I'd like to just thank you guys. When you get to the boat, when you go to eat tonight, tell them Carlos sent you. And we're like, okay. And then he let us know that he worked for the cruise boat. So we get there, and we're waiting in line to get into the cruise boat, and there's these people coming, so I'm probably going to get nervous and stutter. But when we got onto the cruise boat, we're waiting in line, and we look at the wall, and on the pictures of the walls, the captains that run the ship, it was him. And so when we walked into the dining area, we said Carlos, and it was like the Red Sea party. People were just moving and passing by. They were flipping out, and their eyes would get real big when we said we were with Carlos, and he met us there for dinner, and we ended up hanging out with them a little bit. And when we get back to our rooms at night, there would be roses, or not roses, like chocolate-covered strawberries and stuff. He was just blown away by the act of kindness. And for us, it was not a big deal, but it ended up having some major benefits. And I think that's kind of how our faithfulness can be with God sometimes, is we just are faithful in those small areas that don't really seem big, but kind of just mundane and minute in our life. And they can reap some incredible reward and some incredible benefit. But here's the thing, not all the benefit is about us. We need to see beyond us to see the benefit a lot of the time. Because if you look at Boaz and Ruth's story, they end up having a son together, and his name is Obed. And Obed then had Jesse, and Jesse was the father of David. And we all know who came from King David's line, Jesus Christ. So God used this family's faithfulness and Ruth's faithfulness to Naomi to restore them. He used that family to benefit all creation, to benefit every human that walks this earth. So we have no idea what small steps, our little faithful acts can do that can benefit us. And that's my encouragement for you all today, and from the story, is these little acts of faithfulness in our lives that can have major impact. And we have to look and see beyond ourselves, because we may never see the benefit of it, but God cares and God sees it, and we want to care more about eternity than the right now. That's all I have for you guys. I hope that you all were cool. Thank you for your patience, buddy, and I'm sorry for kicking you in the head last night. I love you guys. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. It's supposed to rain later, but we're going to enjoy the sunshine right now. I love you guys. As always, remember, through Jesus Christ, we are never neglected, but always connected. Have a good day.